What is up, YouTube? Check this out. The KobraCraft wand store is officially up and running. Boom. 3 sales, 1 admirer. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. 3 sales, man. Want to get your hands on a handmade wand made by yours truly? What up, YouTube? It's your boy King Cobra back at it with my wand. Boom! It is happening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Good fine afternoon, fellow YouTubers. This is my magic wand that I have made. You see the all the colors in that thing right there on the handle. And then here's the handle. And here's the wand. Now you may be wondering, what the hell is this? This is a basilisk fang with a thestral hair for the core and a dragon opal on the hilt. Now how the hell do you make dragon opal? Okay, if you're a Harry Potter nerd, this is going to make total fucking sense, but if you're not, you're not going to get it. You take the ashes of a phoenix, and when you take the ashes of a phoenix, you bury a fire opal in the ashes, and you lay it underneath a nest of dragon eggs. Okay? And you leave it there underneath the eggs until the dragon itself hatches the eggs. And when the eggs hatch and they've all left the nest, you can retrieve the fire opal, which has now become a dragon opal. There's certain spells and like kind of things and incantations to do all that sort of thing, but check that out. That's my wand. Yeah. Look at that. Yes. It's a good looking wand, YouTube. Anyways, I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. I'll catch you later. That's right, folks. I, Gothic King Cobra, am selling wands on Etsy. And this right here. So, if you'd like to get your hands on a wand, get them while you can, because I've already sold 3. So you too can get your hands on a KobraCraft wand. I'll be selling my wands. Sorry about that, fucking Facebook and YouTube. I didn't mean to fucking drop the phone like a fucking retard. Redo the video. I'm not having this shit. I'm not doing this shit in the middle of a fucking video. Delete all. Okay, let's try this again. Just so you know, this is the official King Cobra wand store, KobraCraft wands. Check that shit out. Hell yeah. That is most definitely what's up. Now, if you're gonna make a wand, you're better off getting real sticks to make them. Anybody can take hot glue and a chopstick. But like I said, YouTube, I like to use actual sticks. You know, to get the sticks that I need for my wands, this is, as you can see before I've even carved it, this is a nice standard length for a wand. The bark is relatively fresh. You're going to need either a knife and some sandpaper, or what I like to use is a bark carving knife and some mini snippers for snipping smaller branches. Now, the subtle art of wand making can be quite rewarding. It's a great hobby to get into if you're looking to, you know, explore your creative side. And, you know, and people think, oh, you make it look so easy. Oh, trust me, it's a lot harder than it looks, especially if you're sanding in by hand. Now, maybe if I had like a mini lathe, these would go a lot quicker, but a lathe would make a lot more mess. So this method, YouTube, may take longer, but this is how I like to make wands. I'll get a branch, a stick if you will, and go ahead and snip the nubs off. And let's see, where do I want to put the tip on this? Gonna hold the stick and kind of determine which end would make the tip. I've noticed that this end is a little bit fatter, and then it gets kind of skinnier as it goes towards this side. So to get these ready for sandpaper, what I like to do is I'll take my branch cutters, and in the side I'm putting the tip in, I'll take the branch cutters and I'll cut the tip into it. There we go. I like that. That's nice. This next batch of wands are going to be a bit more expensive because I'm making them a bit more custom. I'll be trying to put copper around the handles. That'll look pretty sick if I do say so myself. At least that's the goal. And yeah, there we go. Snip, snip, snip. Now, if you don't have branch cutters, you can always use a small pocket knife and just kind of, you know. But now I'm going to take my branch carving knife. This is a bark knife. This is great for getting the bark off. And there's a certain technique I use on using the bark knife. I want it to look, the bark to look like that when I'm carving the bark off. That creates even lines when you're carving the bark off. Now, you could just use sandpaper to get your bark off if you didn't want to use a sharp knife. But using all sandpaper for the whole thing would take forever. Just saying. So now I want to go around in a circle around the entire stick here, YouTube. And I want to take and just carve that bark right off. You could use a chopstick to make a wand and hot glue, but if you're going to make a wand, this method will get better results, in my opinion. as somebody who practices magic, not the card game, but the real shit, instead of praying that your life can get better, why not make it better by using the power of magic? Yeah. The carving wands can be a great way to, you know, gain a hobby. And, you know, there's a lot of people who practice magic and carve wands. I'm not the only one. It's a great way to make new friends and literally carve a holdable piece of work. Alright. Now I left the bark on the handle, like so. Now at this point, if you wanted to stop here for the wand, you could. I mean, this is a very basic, very plain wand. You get a little bit of bark for the handle, a little bit of no bark for the thing right here, for the blade of the wand. But, well, the finished product ends up looking like this. This is my wand that I carry with me sometimes. It's a basic handheld wand. I mean, there's so many steps to making these YouTube. But I suppose if you wanted to be a bit more finicky and make the sanding a little bit easier, you could take your carving knife and push down on those knots and kind of knock them off. I mean, you could take sandpaper and sand these knots off by hand, but if you wanted to make it the sanding a little bit easier, then you can take that bark carving knife and just doop, go in at an angle and doop, pop it off. Now, ancient pagans have been carving wands for centuries. They would either use a sharp blade or a sharp stone, and if they wanted to put a crystal in their wand, they would find a crystal and a stick big enough for it, and then they'd take a sharp dagger and they would whittle it out. They would literally whittle it by hand, and they didn't have the modern conveniences of an electric drill, so they pretty much made do with what they had. And once they got the crystal hole tight enough to where you could just pop it in there and it wouldn't come out, they'd pull it back out. They put some like sap from a tree, you know, something sticky that'll hold it in there, and then they would pop the crystal in place, get it in there nice and snug. They'd leave it to dry, so once the sap dried, they'd probably use other things too, like clay and sap, to hold it in the hole, because these were the resources found from Mother Earth. They didn't have the convenience of Gorilla Glue. But this is the modern way to carve a wand without, you know. So when I see people using hot glue and chopsticks to make these wands, you know, I'm like, well, that's cute for a party decoration, I suppose. Like, if you want to make something quick and easy. But this is like the first step to making how I make my wands. Very basic. Go ahead and, yeah. I guess if you wanted more of an elder wand sort of look, then you could just, you know, sand them off to a point, but not too much. But after the bark carving knife has done its work, this is pretty good. This will make sanding super easy when I go to make this into a wand. But if you wanted to stop here, you could. This is a very basic how-to wand. I mean, at this point, if you wanted to dip this in Mod Podge and let it dry, it'd come out nice and shiny, you know, if you wanted. But really, the next step, if you wanted to make this into a wand, you take leather cord, tie it in a knot at the top of your handle, and then you want to take that leather cord and wrap it nice and tight around. And then once it gets down to about the bottom of it right here, circle back up around back to the top, and then tie it, and then get a small length of it about this long, break it off your roll, and then tie that second knot right in front of your first knot. And take a dab of Gorilla Glue, all-purpose clear drying Gorilla Glue, and put the glue on the knot of your handle. Let it dry. Once the glue's done drying on the knots, you can take your snippers and that excess long string that you have from that second knot, just trim it right down to the glue. That way it's nice and flat. And once you've done that, you can then add like a clear lacquer or laxative of some sort. Like I use Mod Podge, that makes it shiny. And once the Mod Podge dries, now in theory you wouldn't even have to use Gorilla Glue for the knot. You could just dip the whole wand in Mod Podge and paint it with Mod Podge and then let it dry and then trim the excess. But the reason why I use clear drying Gorilla Glue is so that way I know for sure the handle ain't coming off. But this one is ready to be sanded and all that, so I'm going to add it to the pile that I got over here. Now I found a couple trees around town that I can get sticks from really easily, which makes it easier. Just because I show you all how to make a wand, it might offer some fair competition, but people are always going to come back to buy a CobraCraft handmade wand because it's just the principle of the matter. Having a wand made by a commoner or having a wand made by somebody who actually practices magic, you know, it's kind of a no-brainer. Okay, YouTube, that's how you carve a fucking wand. You see that shit? Yeah. Frickin' sandpaper is the best. And what kind of sandpaper should you use? Heavy grit. Easy as piss. The heavy grit will make it smooth. You can also use it to get those rough cuts from the snippers and your point rounded off so it looks, you know, a bit more professional. But I'm not going to give away all my trade secrets, mind you. But you know, and a lot of people would talk mad smack, like, oh, you make a living painting sticks. Actually, you're just jealous for one, and two, I make a living making handheld artwork. You know what I'm saying? I figured if Christians can walk around with the goddamn Bible in their hand in town, then why shouldn't I be able to walk around town with a magic wand? I'm just saying. And there are some countries where the restriction to religion is so severe that, you know, you're not even allowed to carve wands or make them because it's considered taboo. And the Mod Podge that I use, I'll show you what it looks like. It looks like this. This is the gloss luster version. This is what makes my wands shiny. And lo and behold, I just had a Casper local off camera approach me about a potential wand order. So I'm like, that's what's up. He goes, do you really make custom wands? And I go, yep. And I pulled the one out of my pocket. And he's like, dude, that's sick. And I'm like, yeah, buddy. See, now, when you got people approaching you on the street asking, hey, do you really make wands for a living? Yes, I do. That's what's up. Dude, can I get your number so I can call you up for an order? Yep. Sweet, man, sweet. That's how you establish yourself as an official wand maker. You know what I'm saying? I would consider myself a professional wand maker. So, yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of spray paint in there. I can feel it. All these handles are done. You can see that because they're shiny. Oop. These wands are about 95% done right here. You can tell that because the handles are dry, they're nice and shiny. The final step before I podge any of these wands is to make sure that the color looks good on the wands themselves. There's no scratches or chips in the paint. Letting it dry, and then once it gets that final coat of Mod Podge. You know what I'm saying? So that next batch of wands is looking good, YouTube. Oh, this is Deep Forest. Yeah, this is the dark green I was looking for. I knew I had a can of this. So like these two shades of green, yes. And this stuff. Yeah, here we go. Need stuff for the handles, man. I'm not trying adding different shades of green to the black handle once that black's done drying. I'll kind of tape it off and fellow YouTubers getting some wands made for Etsy. Oh boy, I'm trying to get a couple made before Halloween so that way people can have wands for their costume if they want. I'm gonna keep making wands till about the 20th or 21st. And however many wands I have made, we're just gonna list them. Let's see, you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I need to make like 6 more, which that won't be difficult. Just gotta find the sticks and all that. Yeah. Right now I'm working on a red wand. And here's one that I've just about completed. Right there, the pumpkin parlor wand. Yeah, it's still drying on the Mod Podge, but you can see it's just about there. But well, even if I don't, you know, because what day does Halloween fall on? Hold on. Oh, Halloween falls on a freaking Saturday. So I could keep going till like the 24th, making wands, and then get them listed. And yeah, this will be a tight schedule, but we'll make it happen. Either way you shape it, YouTube, making another batch of wands as we speak. So, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you later. Now, I noticed a couple of things on oh, excuse me. I noticed a couple things with my wand that needed to be touched up. I had one made for myself earlier, but it was too flimsy and it snapped. So yeah. But first things first though, YouTube, I gotta get some nicotine in my system, otherwise I get cranky. Sometimes when you're making wands, they break. It's part of quality control. I noticed that once I carved them, if they snap too easily, once I've carved them out, and if they snap too easily, then there's no point in putting paint on them and everything, make them look nice, because, you know. So I'm trying to step up the quality of my product a little bit here. Now I have a power strip underneath my computer, and I plug another power strip into it, so that way the extension cord that I plug into it has enough room to reach my mini sander. Mini sanders, say what? Yes, YouTube. I'm still getting used to it, but I do have a mini sander, and one sheet of sandpaper lasts me a couple wands, give or take. So that's pretty good, yo. I love messing with black magic and stuff. It's just awesome. Let's see if we can. Well, you can. Let's see. Did I get it on camera? Right there, you can see it. Okay. Got her plugged in. And before I do anything, let's take the wand that I was going to reshape a little bit, make it look nicer. There's just a couple of lines that need to be sanded out for demonstrative purposes. I want to show you how I do this. So, yes, what I've been saying on my social media accounts has been true. I got a mini triangle sander for making the wands. And pieces of sandpaper that come with it, they have Velcro on the back, so I could just stick it on there. And when you have a mini sander, try to get it on there as evenly as you can, you know. Try to get it onto the surface as many as you. These mini sanders are awesome, but like, you know, you want to make sure your mini sander's sandpaper is on there nice and even. You don't want it like put on at an awkward angle. And don't worry, because if you put it on wrong, you can peel it back off and stick it back on there. That's the beauty of Velcro. Here's the other end of that extension cord that's plugged into this power strip. So what I do now is I sit there, plug it in, just like that. Then I turn on the power strip and booyah. And once I have the power strip turned on and the sander plugged in, all I gotta do now is just sand my stick. Now I sanded the bottom of my wand. Look at that. For demonstrator purposes, you can see it's nice and flat. That looks good. Alright, so now I'm going to move the wand with the blade facing up. Hold it in place, just like that. I'll take this light grit sandpaper and really smooth it out. Now that I've sanded it smooth, let's do a durability test. Ooh, fucking hell. Yeah, this is kind of hard to snap. I like that. I like that a lot, YouTube. The fact that it's hard to snap. So just a little bit of sanding. I got the bottom nice and smoothed out flat. And I got the blade smoothed out for the wand. Upon holding it in my hand, it definitely feels like a wand. Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, this thing's hard to break too, which is what I like. Nice and solid. Alright. I've been painting one wand at a time, just so the smell doesn't get overbearing. But, grab my trusty spray paint. I'm going to paint my wand here. Now I'm going to stick the wand onto the vice clamp, just like that. And we let it dry. And once that's done drying, we'll hit the bottom half of it with some black spray paint. And then make the tip green, and then we'll add some handle to it. Yeah, YouTube, the mini sander kicks ass, man. This is going to make for a nice device for making wands. Most definitely. Ho, YouTube, that paint job is looking sweet. Yeah, that paint job's looking pretty cool, yo. Take a look at that. That's pretty cool looking shite, YouTube. And when that's done drying, I'm going to hit the bottom half with some more black spray paint, let it dry, and then I'll add a handle to it and podge it. And yep, there we go. Nice and solid. That's what I like to see. The paint looks a little, maybe it's just because I'm getting sawdust all over it from sanding that last wand. Oh, let's try rinsing washing my hands first and then rinsing that off and seeing. Because here's the cool thing about painting these wands, YouTube. I can literally put it in the vice clamp and then put the trash can underneath it. It makes for a very, very clean setup. Very clean setup. Alright. There was sawdust on it, and that's why it was looking like that. I had sawdust on my hands from sanding, but I just rinsed it off with some water. And you could just see how bright these are. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get a couple more wands to this stage for my batch before I start adding handles. I found a long piece of black leather for my wand's handle. Very good. Very good. Very good. That's going to accent the brown leather underneath. And what I'll do is, once I get all the wands I want from my batch to this stage right here, then I'll take some of that gold copper wire and I'll do a small layer on the handle and then put some brown leather on top to accent it. So between the black, the brown, and the gold on the handle, you got 3 different colors. Really makes the handles look nice. Some black leather cord. It's leather cord, not leather string, but it's still made out of the same material, so I want to make the handle on my wand all black, and the black leather will make a nice touch. So, most excellent, YouTube. However, the only difference is it's brand spanking new, you know? Ooey. Yeah. When I spray paint my wands, I do it over the trash can with it clamped in the vice clamp. And then I'll just do like one at a time. That way the smell doesn't get overpowering, and you know what I'm saying? Ooh-wee. I'm probably going to open this other window right here, because, hold up. Ha! Holy crap, I can see. Yeah, I want to open the other window back up, just because I want to get some proper ventilation going through here, you know. I mean, I don't mind the smell of it personally. It just smells like money being made, but not everyone's going to be a fan of it, so 1 second, YouTube. You know, they have a heat gun I could probably use to make the paint dry faster. Something to think about. But I've always liked letting the wands dry naturally in the air. It adds a more natural quality to them. I feel like using a heat gun to dry the paint faster would be cheating. That's just me. Well, that new wand I made for myself, it was a little too skinny and it snapped. It is what it is. This is why it's better, YouTube, to start off with a much thicker stick and just whittle it down. Now you take a much thicker stick and you carve a section where you want the wand blade to be formed. Leave a little bit of bark on for the handle. Take a bark carving knife and just go in a circle, rotate your stick. Once you got the bark off of one side, take like a knife or some snippers, some branch cutters, and roughly cut the points into your stick. Do one half at an angle, the other half at an angle. Flip it over, do the same thing to this side. So that way you have four different sides forming a point from your cut mark at the head of your wand. And once you got your wand roughly cut out and the tip roughly formed, you take your mini sander or some sandpaper and just sand it smooth. And then until that stick is nice and round again, and the cut marks that you made are smoothed out, you know. Then you paint it, let it dry, tie some leather to the handle, and then you put some clear drying Gorilla Glue on the knot of where you tied your leather. Let that dry. Once that glue's done drying, trim the excess off that you might have from tying that knot all the way down to the dry glue. And then you throw that excess away. And then you want to take your wand. If you want to make your wand shiny, like I make them, I use Mod Podge, the luster, or what is it? Yeah, this is the Mod Podge I use for my wands. It's the stuff that makes it shiny. It's in the orange container. They start off as regular sticks, and then they're just, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Then they get carved into actual wands, and it's pretty sweet. Watch them go from a stick to a carved out, fully finished wand. Pretty cool looking. But anyways, tubes, thanks for watching. I'll catch you cool cobras on the flip side. Yo, YouTube. So right now I'm making a wand with a bone handle. And it seemed to be floating around when I was camping. I found a stick and a bone, and I took my knife and I carved a hole out in the top of the bone without using a drill. I even carved the stick to fit the bone handle perfectly. Now all it needs is just a wee bit of glue. Looks like this humble wand maker is back at it again. And if this turns out really good, I might start adding bone-handled wands to Etsy. I mean, this is just a test run, so no telling how it's going to turn out. But, I'm also making it for a friend, which ends up being free advertising. Let's see. The first step after drilling the hole out of this solid bone for the stick right here, it's going to slide in there like that. So before we do anything to the wand itself, we're going to attach the handle to it. And you don't have to use bone for a handle. This came from a deer carcass that was rotted and picked clean by the vultures, and they missed a bone or two, and And this is a great way to honor the deer spirit by using its discarded leg bone as the handle for a wand. I went camping earlier and I found some supplies to make this, so I'm like, why not? Get it. There we go. Now I want to let that sumbitch dry. And then as soon as that dries, then want to do some sanding on the bottom of it to smooth it out like the top. I'm going to do an extra little bead of this glue right where I put it and let it dry before I start sanding on it. There we go. Otherwise clamp upside down so I don't. There we go. Now, I don't have the bloody black spray paint I need to finish handles on my other wands, so I'll definitely be making a trip tomorrow to get some more black spray paint for the handles. But while I'm waiting to get more paint, I figured start working on another wand. Took this 4 Aces cigarette butt right there on top of the cherry pipe tobacco. There we go. Now after we're done using the glue, cap it and seal it. Not like having a couple of ice cold beers, hanging out with some friends and watching the campfire die. And that's the thing of it, YouTube, is you want to enjoy camping weather while you can. Because it ain't gonna last very long. I don't do custom orders very often, but yeah, this one's gonna look cool. And this is just to see what it'll look like when it's done. And it'll look sweet. It'll look medieval as fuck too. I'm gonna make the bone handle on it glow in the dark after I sand it smooth. But for now, I must let it dry. Back at it with the wands. What's going on with you, YouTube? It's your boy King Cobra back at it with another video, man. Cheers. Who wanted to see how the wands were made? While you're looking at it, bud, I'll take a pen right after I get the dowel for my wand attached to the lathe. Mark off the ends of it. As you can see, I've already got a handle started. It's pretty straightforward. I take my carving tool and I go along the edge that I've been carving until I get that handle down to the thickness I want. And then when I get to that point, I can start shaping the handle. Okay? So I'll show the fans how I do this. And it takes a while, YouTube. You can't just crank them out, you know? You gotta be patient when you're carving these, otherwise they snap. Now earlier I was getting frustrated with these because they were snapping on me. They're basically taking the point of it and then just... You can see right there on the camera, I'm just sweeping that point across. Making wands on a lathe, not exactly easy, I'll tell you that right now. You don't want to be in a rush to carve them neither, YouTube. That's how they snap. A big thank you to the fans who sent the wood lathe, the chisels, and the shop vacuum. It's made my magic wands really nice. Okay, that's the desired thickness I want for my handle before I have to start adding stuff to it. Now that I got it to the thickness I want to pick out a different chisel to give it a different shape. So let's go with this one right here, which will create let's show you real quick when I get the handle carved out. Actually looks kind of cool how that turned out. Okay, let me show you real quick. See that, YouTube? Now we have a handle. Look at that. I can add some lines to it too to make it more defined. Go back in with our pointing tool. There we go. I like the way that handle looks. That cut right there, it's when we take it off later. But now that the handle's formed, I'm going to take some, I'll sand it too real quick. That's a good looking handle too, I like that. Alright. Now I like to use 3 different kinds of sandpaper, YouTube. A really rough coarse. And then not so rough. And then the finer stuff. Alright, so thank you, Jared, for donating. There you go. Make sure that line's still in there. Beautiful. Thank you, Jared, for your $4.22 donation. I appreciate it. Okay, the handle is looking good. So now we're going to move. And basically, you're going to want to repeat the same step minus like you can add shapes to your blade if you want. But generally speaking, I like to just keep it simple, you know. I can do like an elder wand kind of look where it's got the bumps like you see on Dumbledore's wand. It just takes more time to make. But I want to unplug the lathe for a second just so I can vacuum up my mess. 1 second. Now I'm not going to show you how I finish the rest of the wand. That's just the basic idea. You take the wand wood, attach it to the machine here, to the lathe, and then I hold the tool with my hand and I chisel it out very slowly. Very, very slowly, YouTube. Very slowly. And again, you want to take your time with the blade because this is where it can get tricky. Okay, you don't want to rush shaving down this part. If anything, you know, you like leave a small section from like here to here for your hand guard and just kind of work on, you know, or like, you know what I'm saying, get it all down. And like, it just takes time, YouTube. You can't rush it. But yeah, that's a good looking wand, dude. I'm liking the way that looks. Very nice. So yeah, that's basically how you do it. You take your time when you're carving it. That's what I need to do. And this wand's about halfway done. It's got the handle. I like the way that handle looks and feels. Here's my wand, or one of my wands. You see what I'm saying, YouTube? You start off with that handle, and you carve the blade. This one happens to have a glass marble on the end of it. That's pretty cool looking. So like you can kind of see right here, I'll show you, hold up. Start to finish. You know what I'm saying, YouTube? This one's a little bit longer, but that's all right. Yeah, pretty straightforward. So yeah, now we're gonna carve the blade. Turn that back on, grab ourselves a swig of soda pop. There we go, we got it secured. Awesome. These take a lot longer to make than just carving them out of a branch, I'll tell you that right now. show us how you lathe wands, Cobra. And I'm like, oh, all right. See, it doesn't look like much now, but as it starts getting smaller and smaller on the blade section here, you'll see the wand take shape. What I'll do is I'll take the chisel and do a couple extra strokes on the part that I want to be tampered as it kind of goes down and gets smaller and smaller towards the tip, you know? Giving it that classic magic wand look. Yeah. These take a lot longer to make than the wands and the old style wands that I make. And on top of that, YouTube, yeah, they're harder to make too. They take longer to make them this way, and they're harder to make. That's why I charged so much money for them. Like $48 is a fair price. Making magic wands on a lathe is one of the hardest things to do on a lathe because of how small you gotta make it. And you don't want to just jab it in there and push as hard as you can, you know, definitely break. It's enough to... You hear that noise it makes when you drag it across your wood? Okay, that's what you're looking for. Nice light strokes. You literally have to take this thing, stick it in here, pop the drill bit out right here, hammer that drill bit into the center of the wood right here, and then go over here and then attach it through here, and clamp it into place so that when it spins really fast, you can just carve it out. Getting skinnier and skinnier. That's what we're looking for, man. I'm liking this. I'm just barely pressing on it, man, just enough to grind it away. The wands were pissing me off earlier, so I took a break. You know, freaking Campbell left. He was hanging out for a bit. Bullshitting the breeze, watching YouTube with me. I'm using a Wen lathe. It's a good lathe, too. I like it. Gets the job done. It's just big enough for my workbench, too, man. I see a lot of YouTubers who use lathes to make wands. And some of these YouTubers who lathe out wands, they're way better looking than mine. I'm still very new to using a wood lathe or a lathe in general for making wands. But I gotta say, I like using the lathe to make my wands a lot better than the old-fashioned way. Just because it's easier on the local trees, you know? So like a lot of people are sitting there going, oh, are they even still hand carved? Well, technically you have to use your hands to attach the wood to the machine, and then you gotta use a wooden tool with your own hands to chisel it out. So technically they're still hand carved. And then you gotta use your hands again to sand it. And you're starting to see it slowly but surely. It's getting smaller and smaller. The thing I gotta remember is I can't be in a rush to make these wands. You gotta take your sweet time and do it. So I do apologize to Alex earlier if I was being melodramatic. Which I get like that when I get depressed, to be fair. But yeah. This method seems to be working a lot better. There are times where I'll just like, lathe out a certain section and then go on to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. Fuck all that. Just do it all in one smooth stroke. And don't worry about tapering it towards the end until you get towards the... People are like... And you know, to be fair, I've been meaning to do a video showing you all how I make a wand on the lathe. You can see it's already starting to form now. I don't want to take too much more off the blade. Like a little bit of sanding wouldn't hurt though. Oop, careful. Yeah, we get the smaller one of that. And this one. That can happen. Ah, shit. Well, at least it didn't snap completely on me. Oh boy. Luckily, this one's savable, YouTube. Just gonna require some trimming. Yeah, it snapped on me, but luckily it's not too bad. Just a little bit of trimming and sanding. Shit. Wasn't done sanding that either, but what do you do? At this point, I'm not complaining. It didn't break on me right in the center like it has been, so there you go. Like you can see right here where the wand blade isn't going to be as long as I'd like it to be, but really beggars can't be choosers, I guess. Okay, so we're going to take... Now, I also use the cloth for staining the wands, but they're also great for like rolling in like that. So then when I put it in the vice clamp, I can trim off the end of it without scratching or scuffing the wood. So the next step, I guess, this, like I said, the break in this wand wasn't that bad. It's doable. I can make a wand out of it. Compared to what I have been going through today, I really am not complaining. Okay, right there. Okay, this might be overkill for something this big, but I digress. Watch the cell phone screen. Yeah, that, yeah, no. Nope. There we are. That was so tiny and thin, you didn't really need a saw for that part. And then, of course, do the same for this little bit right here. Nice in there like that. Alright, so scooch that back a bit. Get this little end right here. There we are. And Bob's your uncle. Look at that. We have a nearly completed wand. So what do you do about it snapping on the end here? There's not a whole lot you can do realistically. So it is what it is. I'm gonna sand the end of it. Yeah, this needs a lot of sanding. Ouch. The nice thing about having it on the lathe when it spins is that it's easier to sand when it's on the lathe and spinning. That's kind of why I was hoping that it wouldn't snap on me like it did, but what do you do? Nothing you can do, YouTube. Alright. Okay. Grab ourselves a fresh piece of sandpaper here. Yeah. See, I don't like how the end is shaped, but before we do that, I give the blade, ouch, a good sanding. The reason why I keep saying ouch is because of the fucking splinters that are sticking out of it. Bloody hell. That's why it's my job as a wand maker, if I make a wand, to, yeah. Before it's finished, I get rid of all those nasty, nasty splinters. Kind of form the tip a bit better. So sometimes you gotta sand them by hand. It is what it is. Much easier to do sanding these when they're on the lathe. Handle a good sanding too while we're at it. Make sure. Put you. There you go. That's basically it. I mean, now I want to hit it with a softer sandpaper. Pretty straightforward. And that softer sandpaper is going to give it a nice glossy finish on the wood. Plus, giving it a good sanding makes the wand smoother in the hands, and it'll make the stain or paint or whatever you put on it stick to it. There you have it, YouTube. One magic wand. Now it's not finished yet, so I'm gonna add paint to it or stain or whatever the fuck I feel like painting it. But out of all the last couple of wands I've been making, this one turned out the nicest. That's a good looking wand. There we are. Now with this new batch of wands, I'm going to paint the handles black and then do a different color for each blade. Yeah. Now I'm just kind of feeling the wand up here just to make sure. That fits comfortably in my large hand. Blade's not too skinny, not too thin. That wand's got a nice profile on it. I'm liking that. Beautiful, YouTube. So I want to make this one black and green. Now basically what I do next is, yeah, man. Take some painter's tape. And I'm off of it. There we are. Beautiful. Now that it's sanded, YouTube, I'm going to take the painter's tape and the parts that I don't want painted just yet. Okay. The piece wasn't quite long enough, but we got it. Hold up. There we go. Now you don't have to use painter's tape when you're painting it two different colors. But the reason why I'm doing it and practicing it like this is so that when I do paint it, it just has a nice clean line. You know what I'm saying, YouTube? So yeah, I'll go outside to a nice quiet spot in the grass. Hit this side with some black spray paint. Let it dry, and then get off of there. There we go. The bottom of that could have been a lot smoother. I get nitpicky about these sorts of things. There it is. Alright. Now, if you want that like silky smooth finish on your wands when you're sanding it, you start off with like a really rough, gritty sandpaper, and then like you just switch to a smoother one, and it'll make the wood on your wand really, really freaking smooth, dude. But yeah, YouTube, I'm not going to show you painting it on camera because you've seen me spray paint my wands how many times on YouTube back at my old place. Only difference here is I got to do that outside, which I don't mind spray painting the wands outdoors and all that. But there you go, YouTube. That's basically took me an hour to make. That doesn't even include drying it. So bare minimum of an hour to make. But I'll catch you later. It's ridiculous. They're a bunch of pelican fuckers. And I own their existence. Otherwise, they would just leave me alone. They wouldn't create two subreddits. And they couldn't harass me as bad as they wanted to in the first one. So what do? They create a second one. Because they can't get enough of me, dude. I own my fucking trolls. Otherwise, they wouldn't have two subreddits dedicated to me. Holy shit. And the trolls can keep sucking my dick. Yeah, buddy.